Today we're talking about harvest and how we're thankful for everything at this time of year, in particular food, but for all the good things that we have in our lives. I don't know if you can see, but on my table here I've got some things for us to look at, and I've split them into two groups. So some of the items are what I'd consider basics or necessities, and some of the items are what I would consider luxuries, special things that we could have. I wonder if you can have a quick look and see which group are the luxuries and which are the basics. Hopefully you've realised that these are the basic items and these are the luxury items. If you had to choose 3 luxury items, I wonder which 3 you would choose out of the ones here. Would you choose an iPad or a phone or perhaps a game? Or would you choose the treats or the really nice toy? And if you had one of these luxuries, I wonder if you would be prepared to swap them for one of the basics. Would you swap the snacks for 3 meals a day? Would you swap the iPad for clean water? Would you swap the nice toy for just somewhere safe to play? And would you swap any of the others for a chance to go to school or to have some healthcare? So, in some countries, some of what we consider the basics here are actually luxuries because they don't have clean water or access to school if they don't have the right equipment. So I think we're really fortunate, aren't we, that we have both the luxuries and the basics. Now, in the Bible, there's a story, one of my favourite stories, and it's about a little boy. Now, one day, Jesus and his disciples were going around and they went somewhere quiet to just get a bit of peace from the crowds that followed them everywhere. A bit like a pop star or a footballer has people following them around and other celebrities trying to get photos or pictures, but we're talking about 2,000 years ago. So the crowds followed Jesus to listen to the stories he told and to see if he could help make people better. So they'd followed Jesus to a quiet place, and Jesus took pity on them, and so he healed the people who were poorly. And he realised that it was getting late and there was nowhere for the people to go to get any food. And he asked his disciples how they could help the people and feed them. One of the disciples said it would cost more than 6 months' wages to feed all these people, and there's nowhere to get the food. Suddenly, one of the disciples brought forward a little boy, and he had a picnic with him. And the picnic contained 5 small loaves and 2 fish. And the little boy was willing to share his picnic. Now you might think, five loaves and 2 fish, that won't go very far with thousands of people. But actually Jesus took the loaves and the fish and he gave thanks to God. And then there was enough to feed everybody until they were full, and there was even 12 baskets of food left over. Now imagine what would have happened if that little boy hadn't been willing to share his picnic. Everybody would have gone hungry. So that one small thing made a massive difference to everybody there. And when we think about harvest and we think about being thankful, we sometimes realise that we can do small actions and it can make a big difference. So perhaps at school you've collected tins for the local food bank, and perhaps you've thought about the countries which are suffering from climate change and realised that some of our actions here can have an effect on the people far, far away. So perhaps we can do one small thing or make one small change and help other people who will be really grateful and thankful for it. So perhaps we can turn our thermostat down by 1 degree. Perhaps we can take 1 minute less in the shower. Perhaps we can do one journey that isn't in the car. Perhaps we can plant a tree. And all these things, if everybody does one small thing or makes one small change, can have a big difference on people far away. So let's just think a minute about being thankful for all that we have. Perhaps we have luxuries and perhaps we have basics, so we need to be thankful for both of them and perhaps not take them for granted. Perhaps we can be thankful for all the wonderful food that we have to eat, and perhaps we can be thankful for the friends and family that we have to share it with. So I hope this October you have the chance to share in some good food from the harvest, and that you remember to be thankful for the basics and the luxuries that we all have. And perhaps you can think, just like the little boy was able to make one small change that could make a big difference.